Hey guys, recently I finished an Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn cosplay. I got inspired by Kamui Cosplay, who did an extremely helpful series of video tutorials on how she made her Shadow Stalwart heavy armor set. She did an amazing job, and she 3D printed all of the armor pieces that you see here. So I really wanted to do this, but the problem was I had no experience with 3D printing. I didn't even have a 3D printer. I had no idea how to use the 3D modeling software. So basically, I had to teach myself how to do all these things. Thankfully, the person who helped Kamui with the headset and the bow, he already has his files up on his Etsy store, and I'll put links down in the description. However, there was no way for me to get a hold of the armor files. So I basically taught myself how to model all of them, and I basically modeled 56 unique pieces for this whole cosplay, and I printed them out all myself. Good news is I provided all of these files, these 3D models, on Thingiverse, where you can download them for free, and I've provided reference pictures and all that jazz, so you know where everything goes. But today I'm going to show you guys how I modeled all these things. It's a pretty novice process because I'm completely self-taught. It was basically looking up a whole bunch of YouTube tutorials and just documentation on Fusion360. But what I'm using here is Autodesk Fusion360 under an education license, so I can download it for free. Apparently this education license only lasts 4 years, but I'm not quite sure. Alright, so I'm going to open this up for you guys. This is what the environment looks like when you first start. You can use, it will be a great help if you get a mouse to connect to your computer if you use a laptop or something, because using the trackpad is impossibly difficult to model in that. And make sure you get a mouse that has the middle button or the middle rolly thing. But this is what it looks like when you first open it. You can pan around the environment by pressing down on your middle roll ball thing. You can scroll, zoom in and out. Here, if you click top, you can rotate your environment here. If you want, you can drag around and so you can see the plane you're working on. So forth. Alright, so what I did was go on Kamui Cosplay's YouTube videos and take screenshots of the close-ups of her armor. So somehow we need to get the image of the armor piece that we need to make on here, so we can, just trace out the shape. So what you can do is go up here to Insert, and then Attach Canvas, and then you select which dimension you want it on, or plane. So I usually just do it from the top here, and then you go to Select Image, and I have it under my pictures, and then I have a whole folder full of these. So let's start, I started with the neck piece, because it was fairly easy to do. So you can see our image is right here. So usually I have to rotate it to be facing the right way. And then I use this little diagonal button to expand it larger. So from here, you can either decide to scale it to what you want, or you can just blow up the picture big and model on that, and then scale the piece afterwards, which is what I did. It's probably not the best idea, but it works in the end. So once we got that, just do OK. And now we have a picture to model directly on. So now what we want to do is trace out the 2D image of what we want. So go up here to Create Sketch. We want it on this plane. And then I'm going to zoom in on here. So we have several tools, the line, rectangles, circles, arcs, everything you could need. Spline is helpful for like freeform curves. But for here, I'm just going to do a line since this piece has very straight edges. So what I'm going to do here is just trace out the image here, and as you can tell, this is open-ended and it'll not show anything, but once we close it, it turns orange. And that's what we can, it's called extrude. It's turning this 2D shape into the 3D shape, like giving it height. So here we're just gonna continue to trace this out. And it's okay if it's not completely perfect. You can kind of tweak things later. And do that. And then that is a closed shape. That's why it turned orange. So you can do stop sketch. And this is just our basic shape. But what I'm gonna do is go back into the sketch. So here is where all your sketches are. And that highlights which one. And then we right click on it and then edit sketch. So now what I wanna do is, I'm gonna turn that off, is outline all these indents and holes. So I'm just gonna, I need that on so I can connect that. I need that line. I need this hole. I'm just kind of guessing here, but that's just gonna be covered up anyway. And close that. Let's see, I'll do that later. I'm gonna do a line right there. Oh, and if you need to escape, if you need to cancel that line, just press escape. Do that. And just kind of fill in wherever you see straight lines. Oh, this is riveting. Riveting material. It's kind of a tedious process, but once you've done it, it's done, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And what is also awesome about this costume is that once you've done one piece, you can just flip it, and that's the other piece, because there's like mirrors of each piece, so everything's symmetrical. Okay, so now what we need to fill in is these curves right here. So what I'm gonna do is the 3-point arc. So you select your first point, your second point, and then you drag it open to determine the direction of your arc. So this one might work here. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. And then I need one here. Here, let's see. I could either do a circle or 2 arcs. I'm just gonna do 2 arcs since I'm already in the tool. I'll do one here, here, and do that. And then I saved that line so I can directly connect it here. Let's see, and then we need an arc here. Oh, that looks kind of wonky. So if you end up doing something like that, you can either undo or you can just drag this little point and kind of fix it up so it's not lumpy. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so now we need to make this little part, which is raised. So I'm just going to do lines here again. Here, and then connect that over there. All right, so that's our shape. We can go stop sketch. And now when we extrude, which is turning this flat shape into a 3D shape, it will come out properly and like have the holes cut out and everything already. So what we want to do is click on, you know, one of these where it highlights it, and then press E for extrude. And then you can see this little arrow. You can just drag it up, and there is your 3D piece. So that's probably too thick. You can just go over here and do like, I don't know, 2. That is kind of a lower piece. If you look at the reference picture, that is kind of below this main piece. So we want that to be a little shorter. So just do OK. New body. You have all these different options for more advanced stuff, but I didn't really bother with that. So I'm going to do OK. And then you notice how like the sketch goes away. You can just click the bulb and there's the sketch again. So we want to do, let's see. Oh, okay. I forgot to add a line. Whoops. So I'm going to do edit sketch because this is a raised area right here, but the problem was that there's not a line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that line in so it can be a raised section. Do this right here. And just can kind of go wherever since it's going to be covered up by that ribbon. So now it has those 2 sections. So this one we want it to be a little higher. So click that region and then press E to extrude and drag it up. Even that looks a little too, whoa, that looks a little too much. So let's see what 3 is. That looks about right. And then here it says join. We want to join because this is all going to be one piece. So I'm going to do OK. And then let's see. This and this need to be the same height. So do the same thing again. You can also just go down here. This is going to be a little shorter than that other one. So I'm going to do like 2.5. That might be a little too close. So let's do 2. That looks about right. And then this one needs to be the highest piece. So like maybe, what do we do on that other one? Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'll let that join. And these right here, so that was a hole. This right here is an indentation. And this is an indentation. So you can just do select both of them, doing control and then click, or whatever it is on Windows, and then I have a Mac, so I do command and then do that. Command and then just click multiple regions and just do that. Just try like 1.5. And it's just kind of, you know, once you've extruded that area, you can shrink it down or you can raise it up a little more too. So that looks like what we want. Okay, so if you notice in the picture, if I get it oriented right, it looks like this part has an angle where it's kind of coming off, like where it's raised. And this, our piece right here, is completely flat. It's not fat, it's flat. So I have kind of a cheaty way of bending the pieces that I needed. So let's see. So what we want to do is a split body, which is under modify and split body. But first we need to define at what line do we want this split to happen. So we know so this 3D piece is under bodies now. So just turn that off. And there's our sketch again. So we know we want it to be split across this. But what we need to do is create another sketch, or you can just edit the sketch that's existing, but this kind of helps. And then click on the line you want it to be split at. And then you want to do a 90-degree angle. You can see that little blue box right there. A 90-degree angle. And just kind of get out of that and then stop sketch. And now you can go up to here to construct. and then do a plane along path. And then select the 90-degree angle line, the perpendicular line from the place you wanted it to be, the bend to be. And then see how there's that orange line? That's your plane you're going to cut at. And I put it all the way where it's lined up with the line that you want or to cut at. And do OK. And then I'm going to turn off the sketches so you can see where that plane is. So now we have this plane right here that we're going to be able to cut along. I'm going to turn that on. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to turn that off. So now we want to go up to Modify, Split Body, turn on your body again. That sounded bad. Okay, we want to split this body, and then the splitting tool, we want to select that plane that we just made. Right there. Oh, I just deselected it. Okay, there we go. We want to cut along there. And then do OK. And now we have 2 bodies out of that one. So there's that one, and turn that off, and then we have this one. So what we want to do now is manually rotate this piece where it's kind of jutting out this way. So what I do is press M for move/copy, and then let's see, rotate. I think it's this. There we go. That's what we want. So there we have rotated it so it has that angle. And put it down just a little. That's a little too much. Maybe just down slightly more. All right, so that's what we want. Let's see if this works. So now we have our piece, but the problem is these 2 pieces are not joined anymore. So what we want to do is join them again. See how there's this little gap? We need to join that together. So there's this handy little feature called Loft, which is under this Create menu, and do Loft. And then what you want to do is select the 2 faces that you want to join. So this is kind of hard to see, but basically it's where the gap is, and see how it automatically connects. And just make sure it says join. Sometimes it'll give you an error if things aren't lined up right, so just kind of fiddle around with the rotate and just kind of make sure there's a proper space between it, and just do OK. And now we have our finished piece, and it's all one piece again, and it has our little angle that we need. So now we can export this. So you can go to Make, 3D print. We need to export this whole piece. Either you can do that, or I just usually save it as an STL file wherever. I'm going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to call this neck piece, because neck would be weird. Just do save. And now I'm going to go over to Cura, which is my usual slicer. Go to Finder, and then find that piece, and drag it in, and there's our piece. And it's obviously way too big. What we're gonna have to do is scale it. Let me do this. So that's what it's gonna look like. So obviously that's too big for the neck piece. So what I would do is go back here and then press S. Well, all right, we're gonna have to do it the hard way. All right, so what we're gonna do is go back here and then go to Modify and then Scale. Click the body that you want to scale. And then oh shoot, okay. Maybe like try it this way. So that's obviously a lot smaller. To measure how big it's actually going to be in real life, you can go to Inspect, Measure, and if you if you read my write-up for the Thingiverse thing, for my Thingiverse listing, I said to do paper dummies to make sure all your pieces are scaled right to your fabric bases. So hopefully you already have that paper dummy. and you can just do a point and a point, and that's 77 millimeters, and you can convert that to your inches or centimeters or whatever. But that will be your piece. And you can either make a mirror in Fusion, or you can just go over to Cura, or go over to your slicer, click on this. It has a mirror function, and there's your mirror. And you can prepare, and you just save it and send that to your printer, and you're done. So I hope that was a somewhat clear explanation of what I did. I basically used this process for basically all the armor pieces. Thankfully, none of the armor pieces were really complicated. I mean, the chest piece was a bit, but it was all just layers, just like this, just on a much larger scale, I guess. But yeah, just play around in Fusion, watch video tutorials on if you run into a certain problem. You can always, contact me. I have an Instagram where you can see all my nerdy stuff. Well, you can always comment on the video or send me a message on anything you run into. I am not an expert at Fusion, at all. I am pretty much a novice, but I pretty much figured out what I needed to do for this application, and that's it. But yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I hope to put out another video about possibly the cosplay itself, but who knows if that's going to happen. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.